सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let's read from the verse 16. नासतो विद्यते भावः न भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति। अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत। So Lord Krishna says there are two degrees or two levels of realities in the universe, for which Lord Krishna is the word Sat and Asat. Sat means Satyam, abaditam, absolutely true, absolutely real, meaning which is ever the same at all times, at all places, under all conditions. That is absolute reality. We need not use the word absolute, that's only reality. But the word absolute is used, adjective, because there appears to be other reality, which is the world of names and forms, which is what we experience, which is what we take to be real. And therefore, Lord Krishna has to make this statement that which is Sat, Satyam, absolutely real, of which the nature is just existence. Sat means existence. And existence being self-shining, Sat also is Chit because it is self-revealing. And Sat and Chit have no form, no attribute, no dimension, therefore it is boundless or infinite. So what Lord Krishna means by the word Sat is what the Upanishad declares as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Upanishad says Brahma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satyam, the truth. Jnanam, the knowledge or consciousness. Anantam, infinite. Not that these are three attributes of Brahman. What is Satyam? Itself is Jnanam. What is Jnanam? Itself is Anantam. Why is Satyam called Jnanam? Jnanam means consciousness, which is self-revealing. Satyam, or the truth, is always self-revealing. And therefore it is Chit, Jnanam, or of the nature of consciousness. Anantam, it is no anta, no limitation, is infinite. Meaning that free from the limitation of space, time, or object. And that Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, or Brahma is Abhavaha na vidyate. Lord Krishna says it can never be that Satyam, the truth, is not. It always is, because to be is its nature. One simple rule is that there cannot be change in the nature of a thing. If there is a change, it is not the nature. What is nature never changes. What is changes is not the nature. So Lord Krishna says Sat or Satyam is truth, never changes. And therefore it cannot be that it is not, because to be is its nature. Then what about the world that we experience, the names and forms that we experience? We find they are constantly changing. What is their reality? What's the reality of the names and forms? The world that we are experiencing. That includes our body, mind, sense complex also, by the way. Because when we use the word world, it's always out there. And we exclude ourselves from that. But that world or creation also includes our body, because our body also is created. Includes the mind that is also created. Includes sense organs, they are also created. So this world of names and forms, which we find is constantly changing, what is its reality? Lord Krishna says, it never is. It's a big statement, Asataha bhavaha na vidyate, sataha abhavaha na vidyate. Sataha abhavaha na vidyate. It cannot be that the Sat is not. Asataha bhava na vidyate. It cannot be that Asat is. You see, this is very interesting and a very profound statement. Of course, it's a very profound verse. That Asat, what is unreal, that it never is. So there are only two categories, Sat and Asat. Sat never changes, Asat changes, so what is changing in Asat? You mean this is not? What Lord Krishna means is that all these names and forms and that we experience, it never is. Well, what it means is that when you really analyze what's the reality of what we experience, the world of names and forms, we analyze what it is that we are experiencing. It turns out that just as the scientists, when they analyze the reality of what we call this tangible matter, when they analyze what it is, it turns out to be energy which is not tangible. That all this variety and diversity of matter is nothing but the vibrations of energy, or waves of energy. So what appears very substantial and real really is no substantiality, no reality. So when we examine anything, name and form, like this flower, what it is, in the Vedantic method of inquiring into reality, this flower is an effect, is produced. An effect is not apart from the cause, like this matter is our part, of course, that is an effect, and is never apart from clay, which is its cause. So although you may choose to call it part, if I call this object clay, you cannot really object to that. You can't say, Swami, you are wrong. You may call it part. Suppose I choose to call it clay. Suppose I happen to be a person who has never seen a part, who has seen the clay. Then please tell me, is it pot or is it clay? One thing cannot be both. Is it white or black? It can't be both. Is it day or night? It can't be both. Our Swami used to say that when you call this clay pot, that's what creates plants and notion in our mind. When you say clay pot, it plants a notion in our mind. That clay is the adjective and pot is substantive. That's, clay pot. Substantive means substance. So we think that the pot is substantive, means the real substance is pot. And clay is the adjective. But that's because of our use of the words. Really, what this should be called is potty clay. What is this? Potty. When we say potty clay, then you know that clay is a substance and potty happens to be its adjective. Incidental. Clay is substance, the potness is incidental. Then what is clay? Again, so you'll say earthy clay, something like that. Because when you analyze what is clay, it reduces its cause, which is earth. When you analyze that, it reduces its cause, depends on how you want to reduce. In the Vedantic model of 5 elements, they would say that the earth is nothing other than water. Because water is the cause, earth is the effect. And water is nothing but fire, fire is the cause, water is the effect. Fire is nothing but air is the cause, fire is the effect. Air is nothing but space, space is the cause, air is the effect. Space is nothing but what? Space is nothing but unmanifest, Maya, Prakriti, primordial matter. That's the cause. And what is that? What is this so-called Maya? That's why it's called Maya, which appears to be there but not really there. And therefore what is nothing but ultimately just adhishthanam. We also say asti bhati priyam. So what this object is, that part shines and part is dear. Asti bhati, priyam. What is name and form? Incidental. That asti, bhati, priyam just assumes a name and form so that asti, bhati, priyam can become transactable. You can't transact with asti. So gold you cannot transact. So it comes as ornament. Just because gold comes as ornament doesn't mean it changes. It's gold only. So asti, bhati, priyam comes in this form. And that form assumes different names and forms. So, what is this object? It is pati asti bhati priyam. The substance is not pot, not clay. What is substance? Asti bhati priyam. What is name and form? Is incidental. So really speaking, name and form is not there. What there is only asti bhati prem. Because name and form is there, now there, it breaks another name and form. That breaks another name and form. Keeps on breaking no name and form. But it cannot be that asti bhati prem is not. So this is the most fantastic thing. You keep on dwelling upon these words and it says that all there is simply Satyam, Sat, Jnanam, Anantam, consciousness, Asti, Bhati, Priyam, Satchidananda. That's all there is. What about all these names and forms? They are not there. That's a big Vedantic statement, which is really difficult to swallow, difficult to understand. So we say that they're as though there. What is asat? A name and form? It appears to be there, but not really there. Meaning asti bhati priyam requires some kind of a name and form to become manifest. So what is this entity? This Swami, what is it? Asti bhati priyam, which assumes this name and form to become transactable. So how can that transact with you? But who are you? Who are you? Asti bhati priyam. With that name and form, so that we can transact with each other. Isn't it? The clay has to assume some form. So you can fill water and you can do things, and then another form, so you can the plate, so you can eat, so some usefulness comes. So asti bhati has taken that form, this form, this form, even this form. So next question is, how many asti bhati priyam are there? That's one there, another one there, third one there, fourth one here, fifth one there, sixth one there, countless asti bhati priyam. You can count bodies. Can you count isness? Not really, isn't it? Asti doesn't have a form, understand? Bhati doesn't have a form. Priyam doesn't have a form. Which is formless, then it cannot be many. It is only one. So one appearing as many. How can that be, Swamiji? How can one appear as many? As it happens in a dream. In the dream also, similar experience is there. But in the dream, when I wake up, I realize that nobody is there. So when I wake up from the dream, the fellows who are listening to me in the class, they don't continue to remain there and wait for me again. When will Swami come back to dream? They all wake up with me. They all merge back into me. Just as in dream also, what is one eye appears as many. So also what we call waking, one eye, oneself, asti bhati prem, appears as many. So Lord Krishna says. And there were two things are there. One is Satchidananda, asti bhati prem, satyam jnananandam, call it Brahma, call it Atma, call it truth. Indestructible, one without a second. Other is all the names and forms which are all incidental, which are there for this to express itself. So same thing is called Atma. Satchidananda alone is called Atma. So next verse 8. Avinashu tadvidhi yena saramidam tatam vinasamavyasya. So then these two entities are there now, Sat and Asat, real and unreal. So Lord Krishna explains what is that Sat, what is real. Avinashu tadvidhi yena saramidam tatam. How many Astivadi Priyam are there? How many are there? One. Meaning, this is Astivadi Priyam, that is Astivadi Priyam, this is sentient, insentient, whatever it is nothing but the manifestation of Astivadi Priyam. Meaning it pervades all names and forms, isn't it? Yena Sarvavidam Tadam, that by which all of this is pervaded. Vinasamavyasya na kaschit kartumarhati. Lord Krishna says, nobody can destroy Asti Bhati Priyam. What you can destroy is the name and form. That will break, pot will break. You'll have different name and form. That will break, other name and form. But then, ultimately what remains is isness always remains. Nobody can destroy isness. And isness always shines. So Sat and Chit and Ananda is indestructible. So two things are there, indestructible and destructible. What is indestructible? Asti Bhati Priyam. That is Atma, that's the self. Other is this incidental, this body, mind, sense complex is destructible. That's what's Antavant ime deha nityasyokta sharirina. So in that verse, Lord Krishna explains how this one self, one Brahman, one Ishvara, one God, one self has assumed all these different bodies, just as in a dream also, I oneself assumes various bodies. When the dream is over, all of these are gone. Who is not gone? I am not gone. So what is projected is gone. What is the adhishta substratum does not go. Similarly also, the Lord Krishna says, what about these bodies? What about the names and forms? So, Asti Bhati Priyam has this body called a pot, another body called a table, another body called a chair, another body called a man, woman, etc. Antavanta ime dehaha. All these dehaha, all these bodies, all the names and forms, all the upadhis are antavantaha. They are, its nature it is to end. They are destructible. Nityasyokta sharina shariri. So, in that verse, last time we discussed, in the verse number 18, look at the verse, Antavanta ime dehaha nityasya uktaha sharirinaha anashinaha aprameyasya. We pointed out last time, for those who have a little bit of knowledge of Sanskrit grammar, simple knowledge is required to determine whether a word is singular or plural, that's all. So, dehaha, is it singular or plural? Plural? Yeah. Singular? No. Don't get, intimidated. No, deha. It is plural of which word? Deha. Which case? Masculine. Which case? First case, nominative case. So how is it declined? Deha, deho, dehaha. Great accomplishment, We studied in the 6th standard. When you start Sanskrit, 8th standard we started. Rama, Ramo, Rama. Deha, deho, deha. So Rama, similarly Deha, is the plural of the word Deha, nominative plural word Deha. Nityasya. Is it singular, dual or plural? Singular. Now the Sanskrit experts are talking. Nityasya. It is the sixth case singular. So now what is the verse? Nityasya dehaha. What this verse says? Nityasya dehaha. Of that which is nitya, that which is eternal, deha, the bodies, the many bodies of the one eternal. Nityasya is one. How about sharirinaha? That's a little difficult to answer. Sharirinaha. Which case is that? Sashti. Very good. How do you say it is Sashti? So what's the word there? What's the substantive? Huh? Sharirin. So how will you decline that? Sharirin, Sharirinav, Sharirinaha. Sharirinav. So this, what is this one? Sharirinaha. Is it nominative plural? What is it? Say dehaha. What is it? Is nominative plural, isn't it? So sharirinaha is what? Is not nominative plural? Shariri, sharirinav, sharirinaha. So is it not nominative plural? I'm sorry to confuse you so much, just to see how confident you can be. That is why the question. Sharirinaha can be both nominative plural as well as Shashti singular. So which one is it? See, Dehaha and Sharirinaha, Nityasya and Sharirinaha. So where does it go? See, there is sixth case singular also and nominative plural also in this sentence. So Sharirinaha, is it nominative plural or is it Shashti singular? You make a choice. Where does it go? Not sharirinaha, dehaha, sharirinaha, no? No. Okay. So, nityasya, sharirinaha, next one, anashinaha, aprameyasya, all of these are the Shashti singular. Nityasya, sharirinaha, anashinaha, aprameyasya. Lord Krishna says, ime dehaha, all these bodies which are sharir. So, sixth case is called the possessive case. You remember that? It's called possessive case. Means sharirinaha is a possessive case. One who possesses sharira is called sharirin. So one who possesses the bodies. These bodies of the one who possesses these bodies of the one who possesses the bodies. So one who possesses the bodies, how many are there? One. For the one who possesses his bodies, all these bodies, how many bodies are there? So possessor is one and bodies are many. You see that here? Okay. Isn't it some mistake there? If the house is one, then the possessor also is one. Houses are many, possessor also is many. Is it not so? So body also is a house, and therefore the possessor of the house must be. So if there are many houses, many bodies, should not there be very many possessors of the body also? No. Why not? So simply by grammar, Lord Krishna is teaching us a lot of things, Sharirinaha, of the one possessor of the body, who is Nityasya, who is Nitya, eternal, Avinashi, indestructible. Anashinaha, one who is, Anashi means again indestructible. Apramesh, immeasurable. So the one who is indestructible, immeasurable, eternal. So the possessor of all the bodies is indestructible, immeasurable, eternal, of the eternal, indestructible, immeasurable possessor of these bodies. And what's the adjective of the body is there? That this deha are qualified by what word? Antavanta. What form is that? Antavanta. Just to wake you up, Sunday morning, so that in case you think about it then. Antavanta? It is Antavantah. What happened to the Visarga? Visarga is elated when it is followed by Ach, meaning this vowel or soft consonant. So what is Antavantah? Of that the Visarga has disappeared. So Antavantah is another confusing thing. So Antavantah. Dehaha. What is ime? Also plural. Ime is these bodies. So these bodies, Antavanta means what? Possessed of Anta, destructible, perishable. So these destructible, perishable bodies of the one who is possessor of these bodies, who is himself indestructible, immeasurable, eternal, of the immeasurable, eternal, indestructible possessor of the bodies, these bodies are many and destructible and perishable. So possessor is one. Who is the possessor? Atma is the possessor. What is the possess? All these bodies. How can one possess many bodies? Is it possible? To explain this, Upanishad tells us a story. Says in the beginning of the creation, the Lord created all these bodies. Tasrishtva tadevanu pravishata. Having created all these bodies, Ishvara entered into them. Enterer is one. Very enters is many. Meaning oneself, one consciousness enters, identifies with the bodies. So one Atma is identified with countless bodies. Therefore, the possessor of that body and possessor of this body and possessor of this body, are these possessors different? Sharirina of one possessor. The bodies are many. Meaning, even though the bodies are many, names and forms are many, the possessor, the truth, the self is only one. Even though names and forms are many, Asti, Bhadi, Priyam, Satchit, Ananda is one. This is beautiful meditation, you can think of it. How can it be, Swamiji? You know what it means that Atma that I am is Atma that you are, is it not so? What I am is what you are. Can you be? But I am a man, you are a woman, how can we be one? Can man and woman, and forget man and woman. Lord Krishna says, Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane, a Brahmana is possessed of, learning and scholarship and purity, and a dog, and a cow, and an elephant, and a dog, untouchable. In all of them, the wise people see only one. So there, the example of many kinds of bodies is given by Lord Krishna in the 5th chapter says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane. There may be a Brahmana who is possessed with Vidya, knowledge and humility, a sattvic person. Gavi in a cow, Hastini in an elephant, Suni in a dog, Swapasecha even in a dog eater, meaning that in an untouchable. What a diversity. From the most pure to the most impure, not only all humans, but includes all animals and everything, in all of them. So not only that the self that I am is self that you are, but self I am is the self that dog is, by the way, because dog is also included there. So Lord Krishna mentions a Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, an untouchable. In all of them, the wise people see the same self. But Swami, that only includes 5. How about mosquitoes? Is it included? Huh? How about criminal? Is it included? How about terrorist? Is it included? Are you willing to say that what you are, what the terrorist is what you are? Are you willing to say that? We would have a hard time to say that. But a wise person can say that. That what a terrorist is what I am. When would that be? When would it be that a terrorist and a Vedantic seeker both are one? When would it be? Only when the terrorist is not real. That's not his ultimate form. What we call terrorist also ultimately reduces to Asti Bhati Priyam. And the Swami also reduces to Asti Bhati Priyam. And mosquito also Asti Bhati Priyam. And therefore, when Asti Bhati Priyam appears as so many names and forms, all names and forms are incidental. All costumes, what does it matter what costume it wears? So in the morning, in the Rudram, they chant, Namastahamanaya nivyadina avyadini nam pataye namo namah kakubhaya nishangine stena nam pataye namo namah nishangine ishudimate taskaranam. So Lord Krishna is described as stena nam pate, the Lord of the thieves and Lord of the robbers, and this Dakshinamurti is God of thieves and he is the leader of robbers. And different kinds of thieves. Those who rob during the day, and those who come at night, and those who come straight, and those who come from behind, with different kinds of, Is that what Dakshinamurti is? Must be. That's what it says. Means what? All those things are just incidental. They just don't matter at all. They are just different costumes that he wears. Like an actor wearing a number of costumes doesn't get affected by the costume. So also, if really Atma got affected by being a thief, then he cannot be Rudra, he cannot be Shiva. He can afford all this, actor can afford all the costumes because a costume does not in any way affect him. This is the vision that Lord Krishna gives to Arjuna right in the beginning. In case Arjuna got this, the further teaching was not necessary, but then is there any room for any grief now? All this teaching is imparted in the context of Arjuna grieving. And Lord Krishna imparts this teaching as a solution to his grief. In case, even if you don't have this knowledge, Swami, I understand, but I don't experience it. Don't worry, even if you don't experience it. Even understanding makes sense. Does it make sense? That what I am is what you are because this costume, the eye wears this costume, that costume, and a number of costumes. What the costume is does not matter. So when would the wise person be able to see one in all this variety of things? When would it be? When the costumes do not matter. When would you see that a king also is the same, a minister also is the same, and beggar also is the same, and a villain also is the same? When they are all costumes, one actor putting on different costumes, that costumes do not matter. Then you can see that, hey, the one who is king alone is a beggar, alone is a villain. It should begin from where, not there, it should begin from here. Meaning that is also a costume. What? This one. This body, mind, sense complex also is a costume. The self doesn't get affected by that. I doesn't get affected by that. When I recognize that, then it's very easy for me to recognize that just as the I here is not affected by this body, mind, sense complex, necessarily I there also doesn't get affected by that body, mind, sense complex. If that kind of vairagya, you know what is vairagya? Is this, what does it matter what the costume is? Costume is costume. Does it matter that your favorite actor comes as a king, and comes as a beggar, comes as a minister, and comes as a villain? Would you not go to watch that movie? No, I don't watch this movie, Swami, because he comes as a villain. But your favorite actor? You go to watch the villain or you go to watch the actor? What do you go? Do you get deluded when you see him shooting somebody? Oh, he has become a murderer. Has he become a murderer? No. Just acting, is it not so? So how there is vairagya with reference to a favorite actor? He comes as a king, okay? Comes as a beggar, all right. Comes even as a villain, all right. We are what? Indifferent. Indifferent to what? To the costume, is it not so? Then only we can appreciate his acting, otherwise you will get depressed. If you see him coming as a villain, will you not get depressed? Oh, he has become villain. Oh, so sad. Do you become sad? In the movie, again, your favorite actor, suppose his girlfriend or wife leaves him, making him cry. Do you get depressed? Hopefully not. It's all acting. So, even though he's shedding tears, does he cry from inside? Hopefully not. He doesn't weep from inside. Our Swami used to say, when he sheds tears, inside he smiles at himself and congratulates, how effectively I am shedding the tears, how effectively I am crying. There is indifference. That's why Lord Krishna said, this is asat, appearance, meaning immaterial, incidental. What is real is sat, is atma, is the possessor. And what he possesses, he requires some medium to manifest himself. And so he is chosen. And that's why everything is okay, because then don't make this creation complete. They say it takes the whole variety to become this universe. If everybody was a saint also, then we would get bored. Everybody is saint. So why is that? Why did God created, death? Why did God create sin? Why did God create? It's all variety. So everybody was saint. You like that idea, but I think in a few days you'll get bored with it. Because only if you are served rasagulla, that's all, nothing else. You need the chutney also, isn't it? That's why chutney also is required. For you never touch it again, So, Swami, this is very nice pickle. And then that's it, the last, but that is also required, I guess. So all the varieties for entertainment, not to be taken seriously. If you take it seriously, then you will get depressed. When you take seriously the actor has become this gunda, has become the villain, then no, that is just an acting appearance. So we enjoy it, is it not so? But if my son has really become like that, would I enjoy it? No. If my son comes here in the cultural program and takes the, performs acting of something or the other, like a villain or a criminal, I don't mind. He becomes Duryodhana, it's okay. My son has become Duryodhana. Look at my son, how nicely he's acting. Look at his speech. Duryodhana's speech. When can you enjoy that? When you are indifferent to the fact that Duryodhana is what? Is only mithya, is an appearance. Then you can enjoy. If you think that he becomes Duryodhana, you won't have sleep at night. So similarly, that's what Lord, why are you worried about all these appearances? Hey Arjuna, what Bhishma, Drona, doesn't matter what it is. They're what? Antavante ime dehaha nityasya. The self is one. Avinashi, nityasya is indestructible, is eternal, permanent, limitless. What does it matter in what body it comes? Because when the body is there, then also it's not really there. That's what Lord Krishna said. Asad is not really there. Just in dreams, so many things appear, but not really there. Similarly also, this is a very big thing, But in case we get it here, then that you got everything. You mean, Swamiji, don't tell me this body, this is not there. So what is there? Swami is there. What is Swami? A name and form. What is name and form? Asti Bhati Priyam? Is it not so? No, Swami, we can't say that. Asti Bhati Priyam. Something special about Asti. All right. But to me, to them, everybody is special, really. As special I am to myself, so special you are to yourself. But it's ultimately name and form. But this is a lesson with which Lord Krishna begins. Difficult lesson. But as I said, even intellectually we get this idea that this is after all a dwelling. Who am I? Sharirin. So she said the substantive is Sharirin. Sharira plus in pratyayade Sharirin means one who is a possessor of the body. So who am I? I am Shariri. Sometimes Lord Krishna uses the word Dehi. Dehi means again, Deha Asyasti, the possessor of Deha. The possessor. Who am I? Possessor of Sharira. Possessor of Deha. It is that much we can remember, that also will be a big thing. What do I take right now? I am Deha. I am body. Lord Krishna says, hey, you are the possessor of the body. Just because your house is beautiful, costs $1 million and has 7 bedrooms and 3-car garage, so do you not say that I am the house? I'm the possessor of the house. Now my new BMW car is $100,000. But you are not the car, you're still the possessor of the car. And some crummy car, some little bug, BMW, whatever it is. The bug also may not be that cheap now, but those days it used to be very inexpensive. Those means 50 years ago. So 40 years. Little bug. And Cadillac. So what? You are the possessor. You are not. You don't become Cadillac by possessing Cadillac, nor do you become a bug by possessing a bug. And people really have bug, the real bug, because they are people all kinds of hobbies, So there are all kinds of pets. So bugs are also pets. Do you know that? Some people have bugs as their pets. They can have, honeybees as the pets, even snakes as the pets, and mice as also as pets, and all kinds of things. You're a possessor, understand. You're not the mouse. You're not the bug. You are not the snake. In view of that, Let us proceed with the next verse. Understand that the cause of Arjuna's grief, there are primarily two causes why Arjuna is grieving. One is that all his near and dear ones will die. One cause of grief is death. That what shall I do without them? Ye samarthe kangshitanna rajyam bhoga sukhani cha tayame vasthita yuddhe pranam stektva dhanani cha. Lord Krishna says, Ye samarthe kangshitanna. Those for whom we desire the kingdom. See, Arjuna has come to the battlefield not with a selfish motive. I have come to the battlefield to win this battle, to win the kingdom. For whom? For all these people. Acharya, Pitaraha, Putraha, Tasaivacha, Pitamaha, for our teachers, for our fathers, for our sons, our grandsons, for friends, for relatives. For them we have come here to battle, to win this kingdom, for their happiness. Arjuna says, for their happiness. But then, all of them are here willing to give their prana and everything else, so they will all die. So what's the use? What will I do without them? So death is one important cause of Arjuna's grief, for anybody's grief. And second cause of Arjuna, because he is dharmatma. Arjuna is a dharmanishtha, one who abides in righteousness. He suffers from a sense of guilt. What's the guilt? I will become the killer. Other cause of Arjuna's grief was that I'll be a sinner, I'll be a killer, I'll incur the sin. Hatvaitan adatayinaha. That we will kill all these fellows, even so we'll become killers. So these are the two things that Lord Krishna is addressing here. Number one, death is the cause of Arjuna's grief. And number two, that I'll be the killer. I'll become instrument of killing them. I'll become sinner. I'll have to go to hell. So that sense of guilt of being a killer of these people is also what is causing grief to Arjuna. So that is why Lord Krishna has to make Arjuna see that this Bhishma and Drona do not die. You are grieving for their possible death, understand that they do not die. And secondly, you are grieving because you will be the killer, you don't kill. These two things Lord Krishna has to teach Arjuna. So these are the two things we find being addressed in Bhagavad Gita. All along you will find that Lord Krishna emphasizes akartrutvam, actionlessness of self. Atma does not act, does not perform an action. And killing also is an action. So you don't perform the action. So you are not a killer, number one. Therefore, if you really knew who you are, then you would know that you are not the killer, in which case there is no cause of grief. And if you knew what these Drona and Bhishma are, antamanta ime deha nityasyoktyas, this deha antamanta, they are all perishable. The dehi is what? Imperishable. So dehi doesn't die. Bhishma, Drona, what they are, they do not die. Therefore, there is no point in grieving about their death because there is no death. Lord Krishna, there is no death. And there is no kartrutva. There is no killing. This is what Lord Krishna is saying. There is no death and there is no killing. Can you accept that? We see people dying and Lord Krishna, there is no death. We see fellows killing and he says, no killing. So that's what Lord Krishna says in the next two verses. Here these verses are quoted from Kathopanishad with some change. So even when a mantra is quoted from Upanishad, usually the mantra will not be quoted as it is verbatim. You know why? Because in orthodox view, only some people are qualified to listen to Upanishad, not everybody. Whereas the Bhagavad Gita, which is Smruti, everybody is qualified to listen. So Smruti and Puranas, everybody has right or qualification to listen. But Shruti or Vedas, everybody is not qualified. This is the orthodox view. We have not been following that view, so it doesn't apply today, because this Gurukulam would not have been here if that was the thing. According to them, only who can listen to Upanishads? Women are barred. Striyo Vaishyas tadha, no Stri, no Vaishya, no Shudra. All business people are there, no Vaishya. No workers, no laborers, no Stri. I am not saying this, because if I say that, you'll just wait for the Swami to come out and say, What did you say, Swami? I dare not say all those things, I won't take the risk. Because if we take the average also, perhaps, but anyway, but traditionally, only some people are qualified to study the Vedas and listen to the Vedas. Upanishad is Veda. Therefore, everybody is not qualified to listen to the Vedas. But they are all qualified to listen to Smruti, such as Gita. Now, if in Gita, Lord Krishna uses a verse verbatim, then people listen to Gita will also listen to that verse from Veda, then that would be wrong thing to do. Therefore, that mantra Upanishad will be somewhat changed. So this is the mantra of the Upanishad. Those who are familiar with Kathopanishad know. This is the mantra from Kathopanishad. But you will also know that there are some minor changes. See, Upanishad mantra is Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is it? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Change it around. Then Hare Rama, Rama. So, similarly here also, the mantra is, you will see the note, you'll note the difference there. So, read verse 19. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschenam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate. Ya enam veti hantaram, the one who thinks that the self is a killer. Yaschenam manyate hatam, and the one who thinks that the self is killed. Ubhautam vijanitah, both of them do not know. Why? Nayam hanti nahanyate. Because the self does not kill, nor is he killed. So another very beautiful and important aspect of the Atma is brought out here. What was the aspect brought out earlier? That Atma is one, eternal, imperishable, and possessor of countless bodies. The bodies are many, countless, perishable, destructible. And the Atma that possesses all the bodies is one, indestructible. There is one thing was said. So what dies? The bodies are destructible. Atma is indestructible. Here now Lord Krishna says that Atma neither kills nor is killed. Meaning that it does not perform an action, nor does the Atma become the object of action. It is neither karta nor bhokta. That another dimension of the self is brought out here. These two dimensions basically are addressed in the Gita. Because they are the causes for the grief of Arjuna. And we'll take a break here and continue the discussion of this verse after you have some change, some coffee. य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारम् यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. So here we may imagine Arjuna asking a question of Lord Krishna. That yes, I understand that Bhishma, Drona, others do not die, but still they'll be killed by me. I should not have grief with reference to their death, meaning their death need not cause grief to me, but the fact that I will become their killer. So tat vadakartru nibandhanasya, how the sin or the papa that I will incur on account of killing them, that papa will be there. Lord Krishna explained to me that the death should not cause any grief, but I'll become the cause of their death. I'll become their killer. I incur the sin of killing, number one. Also I will have a sense of guilt that I was the killer. How do I get over with that grief? So, papam, the sin of killing will be there, and this sorrow arising from a sense of guilt will be there, that I am their killer. Ato aham karta tvam prerakaha. And Lord, you also will be a sinner, because I will kill all right. But what did you tell me? Tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Hey Bharata, therefore may you fight this battle. So you are the cause, you're preraka. So you're causing me to fight. So I fight all right, but then ultimately the prerana, the inspiration for fighting came to you. So you will be called karta and karayita. Karta means doer, karayita, one who makes him do. So I'll become the karta, meaning the agent of act of killing, You become karita, you will become the agent of inspiring me or prompting me to kill, making me to kill. So both in fact are considered, papi, because they say that not only the person who commits crime, of course, is punishable, but those who are all, his associates and who participated indirectly or directly, they are also there. So Lord Krishna, you will also be included in that. To that Lord Krishna says, Ubhau tavana vijani. The Lord Krishna defines what is ignorance. In this Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna basically says that someone is skilled and someone is killer, both of these are the notions born of ignorance. Ubhau tau na vijanita. Ubhau means both of them. Tau ubhau, both of them, na vijanita. Both of them do not know. Who are these both? Yenam vetti hantaram. Yaha, the person who, enam. So Lord Krishna uses the word pronoun. Enam, this one. Doesn't say Atma. One who considers this one as the killer. Yascha enam manyate hatam. Other fellow who considers this one as killed. So there is a killer and there is killed. Who is killer? The agent of act of killing. Karta, who is karta? The karma ashraya, means he is the locus or the agent of act of killing is called killer. The ER pratyay is there in English. Kill and killer. Kill is verb. Killer, one who carries out that verb. That is implied by the action. And so drive, driver. Teach, teacher. Kill, killer. So here, so who is killer? One who is the agent of the act of killing. Similarly, in Sanskrit, so that ER pratyay is there in English, In Sanskrit, the pratyay is trach pratyay. In the sense of that implies is the doership, So just ER suffix ER implied doership. Kill and killer. Who is killer? One who is the agent of act of killing, who is doer. In Sanskrit, han means to kill. Hantru means killer. The tru, the suffix tru impart the sense of agency. So hanta, hantru means, so what is hanta? Which case is that again? Of, I already said it anyway. Maybe I should have. So nominative singular of what? Hantru. Yeah. So hanta, hantaro, hantara. All experts, See, this is what you have to learn. That's why Sanskrit. I should not insist that everybody should know Sanskrit or anything. But this Swamiji is necessary to learn Sanskrit for studying Vedanta. No. If I say yes, then nobody will come here. And so I said no. Because we make up for that. Hopefully, we make up for your lack of, knowledge of Sanskrit. But there is not the license of not even trying to learn, Just because I do not need Sanskrit to learn Vedanta does not mean that I have the license not even to try to get some basics of the language. If I were you, I would do that, because these verses are in Sanskrit, that's the thing. English translation is fine. But when you understand the basics of the language, you can see how our understanding expands. So Shariri, the translation is very bland. Shariri, when you say, so Sharirinaha, is it the sixth case? So that, first of all, is not nominative plural, but it is the singular of the possessive case, sixth case. So then there is a possession involved, There is a possessor, there is something that he possesses. The possessor is always different from what is possessed. So by using the word Shariri, Lord Krishna says it's different from Sharira. You follow? By calling Atma, the possessor of body automatically says that is not the body. See, that conveys, Also that it is singular and deha, all is plural. How can one fellow possess so many dehas? Possessor is one and what he possesses are many. How can it be? There is some problem here. Either Lord Krishna is making a mistake, in using the words, or he is suggesting something. That there is one possessor of all the bodies. There is one self in all the bodies. One electricity in all the bulbs. One gold in all the ornaments. One water in all the waves, and so also one self in all the bodies and names and forms. It's a huge thing. Even intellectually also, this is much releasing because when particularly, I always suggest that when you feel sad or unhappy, that is when at least you can bring this into your mind. Otherwise, there is no time, Swami. Once we leave and we are too busy. But when the real problem comes, then this is the thing that will resolve that problem. He insulted me, Swamiji. He did this to me. He did that to me, and I'm hurt. I'm angry. Who did to whom? That person, Swamiji. My boss did this. My neighbor did it. My friend did it. Who is he? It is intellectually you can say, but the possessor of that body is what did to possessor of this body, right? When he said, he did this to me, who is he? Possessor of that body. Who am I? Possessor of this body. The possessor of that body insulted the possessor of this body. But who is the possessor of that body? Self. But this body? Self. So self insulted the self. He insulted himself, or I insulted myself. Is it not so? This is what this verse means. If there is only one self in all the bodies, then one who insults also is a self. What is insulted also is the same fellow, isn't it? Sounds funny. It is like looking at them and going into the mountains and saying, I love you. Then mountain says, I love you. I hate you. It says, I hate you. Have you heard this? There's echoes. Or you can look at your reflection in the mirror and make your faces. That fellow will make faces, also. But all that is no problem because I know that it's the same fellow, not different. If that fellow is different, suppose I did not know that what I am looking at in the mirror is myself, then it's somebody else, then what will be the result? Sometimes a child doesn't know that what he sees in the mirror is himself. Then he starts crying, he starts playing, he thinks there's a different entity. Then he's scared. A bird is packing, fighting with somebody. With whom? We are wise people. We know that he's fighting with himself, his own reflection. Similarly also, the possessor of that body insulted the possessor of this body. Who is that possessor? The self. Who is this possessor? The self. The self insulted the self. I insulted myself. Sometimes you do that. Sometimes, Shuklam Mardaram Vishnu, sometimes you do that. You hit yourself. When you do it yourself, there's no problem. It's called, sometimes you do, this is just play. When you do it to yourself, it is called play. If you do that to me, it's a different matter. When I realize that ultimately what is you is what is me, all play, is it not so? That's what Vedanta says. Everything is just play. Swamiji then, you see that Bhagavan is the self of all, self of killer also, then how come Bhagavan, doesn't stop the killer from killing? Because one who is killed also is Bhagavan. If the killed is different, then there is a question. You follow? So in the ultimate sense, this is a very nice, in fact, therapy. Not therapy, a solution. It's not a therapy. Therapy is make-believe stuff. This is real stuff. It is momentarily all your sense of hurt, etc. There will be some relief, great relief. Is it not so? That who hurt whom? I hurt myself. Or he hurt himself. Ubhau tau na vijanitah. The fellow thinks that I insulted, and the person thinks I am insulted. Both of them do not know. Because he doesn't know the swarupa of the one who insulted, nor does he know the nature of one who is insulted. Is it not so? Because if I knew, then there would have been no sense of insult. Sometimes, people what they do, one Mahatma, we called this old Mahatma in India. It was about 10 o'clock at night, and for some reason, the Swamiji was very frank. He said, you know what I was doing? I was standing in front of the mirror and making faces to myself and laughing. Because they say that every day you should have laugh for some time, It's a therapy. So if no occasion arises for laughter, that's why we have laughing clubs in India, laughing clubs. People go to laugh there. It's a therapy. But if that occasion did not arise during the day when you have to laugh, then you can create that occasion by making faces at yourself and laugh. So when the reflection makes face at you, you laugh. But if somebody else made that faces to you, then what? That will not be laughing. It will be something else. So Lord Krishna says that oneself alone is playing all these games. Arjuna, recognize that, immediately all the grief will disappear. All the grief disappears moment we look at who is it doing, to whom it is done. Yeyanam. So Lord Krishna specifically takes here the act of killing because that is the subject matter here. Arjuna's immediate problem is that he has a complex that I will be their killer and that they will be killed by me. This is his immediate problem. Therefore, Lord Krishna uses the verb han, which is to kill. Yaenam veti hantaram. Arjuna thinks that I will be their killer. Who is killer? Killer means the agent of act of killing. Every action always must have a locus. Action cannot stand in air. Like speaking is an action, has a locus in the speaker. Listening is an action, has a locus in listener. Killing is an action, has a locus in the killer. So is killer one who is the locus of the act of killing. So one who looks upon oneself as a killer. Yes, other fellow also in the same boat. The one who thinks that he is being killed. So that means what? He is the object of the action of killing. This is the agent or subject of act of killing, hanta. Understand that the same verb is used with different suffixes. Han. When you apply the trich pratyaya, then it becomes what? Hanta. Ya pratyaya, hanya. Hanya means one who is killed. Hanta means killer. Hanya means one who is killed. Same action is there. Han means to kill. So one is the agent of killing, the subject of the action of killing, other is the object of the action of killing. You follow? Subject and object. So that is how all our interactions are, isn't it? I'm the subject of speaking. You're the object of, my words. Ubhau tava na vijanita, both of them do not know. One who takes himself as a killer, and the other one who looks upon himself as a killed, ubhau tava, both of them do not know. How come, Lord, they do not know? Isn't it true? I killed a mosquito, I'm a killer. Mosquito doesn't say that I'm killed, but poor mosquito must be feeling I'm killed. Nayam hanti nahanyate. Lord, I am nahanti. This self does not kill. Nahanyate is not killed. No, this is on the face of the fact that somebody is killing somebody else. And when that is happening, Lord Krishna says that there is no killer and there is no killed. So what are we doing? That means what? It must be some kind of a play, is it not so? Killing also must be a play, and being killed also must be some kind of a play. In the play that we know, in the movies, in the play, all kinds of shooting takes place. Is anybody shot there? Although it may look like, but really is a shot? No, they will have to go to prison. No. In the movie, even though there is somebody who kills and somebody who is killed, really there is no killer and there is no killed. Is it not so? In a drama or in a movie, even though we see somebody killing and somebody killed, in reality there is no killer, there is no killing. Why not? How come you don't feel at all? You don't call police. This fellow shot somebody. You didn't call police, did you? How come? No, Swamiji, it is just a play. What do you mean play? Isn't there an act of killing? Isn't there an act of being killed? Aren't they there? So act of killing is there, still we do not call police because killer is not there. You see? You follow me? You see the act of killing. And still we do not call the police because you know that even though there is act of killing, there is no killer. And you don't call an ambulance. Even though you find this fellow killed, you do not call an ambulance because you know that there is act of being killed, but there is nobody is killed. Isn't that so? So we are wise people. The same knowledge to apply here at this level. But how come? How come you don't call police? Even though you see the killing going on in front of you, how come you don't call police? Because act of killing is what? Is enacting. Killing is there. At what level is it there? It is in the costume. But the actor who is wearing that costume does not kill. Even though he appears to be killing, in reality he does not kill. Other fellow is also killed. At what level is he killed? At the level of costume, that fellow is killed. But the level of, again, actor, that fellow is not killed. Is it not so? This we know. Although you may not be able to express, articulate what you know, but this is what we know. This is as though killing and as though killed. Is it not so? So how come this fellow is killing and still is not killing? When would that happen? When in Vedantic language we say the killing is mithya. Appearance, as though. Just as in a play or a movie, the act of killing does not in any way touch the actor, does not affect the actor, does not touch the actor, is it not so? Even though he kills and still not touched by the action of killing, means that it is not necessary that an action necessarily has to have a reality behind that. Even though the actor is killing, he is the agent, apparently agent of killing, but the action does not anywhere touch, because action is mithya, actor is satyam. You follow? Mithya does not in any way touch the satyam. This is very clear as far as play is concerned, Swami, that we understand. And similarly, being killed also is mithya, and that fellow actor is satyam, and therefore the mithya does not touch the satyam. It is all level of costume, not at the level of self, actor. What do you think is here then? Similar thing. Act of killing is there, hand is involved, eyes are involved, mind is involved, intellect is involved. All at this level it all takes place. But Lord Krishna says that the self is not involved. Self does not kill. Then how does killing take place? In the presence of self, the killing takes place. I always, on these occasions, I remember my old toy, which I used to have in the past. It has been lost somewhere. It was a music box. A music box with a small little solar panel. Little, You come to my room, I'll show you some magic. I'm sitting in my chair, in the window across, there is a man. And then a butterfly is flying like this. Starts flying. So at first sight, what happened, I said, look, I'm sitting here from a remote control I'm doing. In the beginning they believe, but they know it can't be, something must be there. So people who are smart, they know, it must be some solar panel. The solar panel is behind, you can't see it, So when the sun falls on that, this thing starts, some motor is there. Meaning that, now who is doing this? Looks like this man, if it's butterfly, then he's shaking the butterfly or flower. But what is happening is, it is not that sunlight is actually moving it. Does sunlight move? See, when sunlight is not there, there is no motion. When sunlight is there, there is motion. I think that thing will work that used to work in this life. My music box had a solar little thing, but even if I held this light, then also it was working. I'll try whether that thing will work or not. There will be a nice demonstration. So, right now there is no music. The moment I held against this thing, the music box produces. Some drums are there and all kinds of music comes out. Who is playing that music? When the box is away from light, there is no music. When held before the light, there is music. So light is playing the music, is it not so? There is a little solar battery. Away from light, no music. Held against light, that music box starts playing. So who is playing the music? In Anvaya Vedarika, when one is, the other is. One is not, other is not. When clay is, pot is. Clay is not, pot is not. Therefore, clay is the cause of pot. If you want to establish cause-effect relationship, this is a nice method. That's what they do, all lawyers in court, everything, This fellow was there and something happened. This fellow was not there so far, nothing happened. He came and he was in the house since last 3 days, and this happened. So, Anvaya Vyatireka, this must be the cause. Clay is there, pot is there. Clay is not, pot is not. Clay is the cause of pot. Sun is there, day is there. Sun is not, day is not. Sun is the cause of the day, right? So light is not, music is not. Light is there, music is there. So light is the cause of music, is it not so? Why are you everybody so scared in answer such a simple question? So who plays music? Light plays music, is it not so? Huh? Is there any doership? Light said, let me now play the music. So far light thought that I'm not going to play. And when the box is here, light now thinks, let me play the music, and it plays the music. Is there some kind of will involved on the part of the light? Is there any effort involved on the part of the light? No? Light doesn't do anything? See, these tech people are also confused here, No, it's only in presence of light that the music takes place. There's no player of music, understand here. Music takes place. In presence of light, the music takes place. Is it not so? This much we can understand. So also, in presence of self, the consciousness. So what happens is, light first enlivens that little battery cell, and that little, very small little current is generated that goes into a little tiny motor. It starts turning, and then some drums are playing, and then so it's a pretty complex mechanism inside. So drums are playing and things are happening. But basically, so you can say that the motor is playing the music, if you want to say that. Where the action is where in the motor. So really the motor is playing the music. Is it not so? But if motor can play the music, then motor should be able to do it independently. Without light also it should be able to play. Can motor play the music without the light current? Motor appears to be playing music. If you look at that thing, motor turns and then, other drums and other things happen. So who is playing music? Motor. But does the motor have the will to play the music? Does motor have freedom not to play the music? If it's held in light, motor has no freedom. If it has freedom, motor, I'm not going to turn. Suppose motor can say, I'm not going to turn. You switch on the light, finds I'm not turning. Then we can say that it is a free will. But when you switch on the light, poor thing has to turn. It has no freedom not to turn. Switch off the light, it has no freedom to turn, meaning it doesn't have free will. Where can action take place? There is free will. Only when, that is called action, when it is a deliberate action. When there is a free will involved. What is will? Let me turn. Let me rotate. Does the fan think that, let me now rotate? This is a simple question, it's not a Vedantic question, these are simple questions. Does the motor have freedom or not? When the light is turned on, motor, does it have freedom not to turn? No. When light is turned off, does it have freedom to turn? No. So even though it is motor that is turning and rotating the blades, in a way you can say that the motor turns the blades, but inasmuch as motor doesn't have free will, we cannot say motor has doership. Where is doership? Where the free will is there. Where freedom to do or not to do is there, that is called free will. Does that motor have a freedom? No. Does electricity turn the fan? Yes, Swami, electricity turns. Suppose you take away the motor and then switch on the current, will it turn the motor blades? Does electricity turn that fan or does the motor turn the fan? What turns the fan? Now forget about the music box. Even this also will work, I think. Does electricity turn the blades or does the motor turn the blades? What does it do? Together. So can you say a motor turns the blades? You can say that. Then it won't need electricity. He says, come on, let me turn the blades, then it will do that. If motor had that free will, then it would do it without electricity. Is not so? Wait, does it? If electricity turned, it had the free will, it would not need the motor. So let me turn the blades. Does it turn? Does electricity have free will? Does motor have free will? And still turning takes place. So how does it happen? The act of turning takes place without free will, understand? I mean, nobody is turning it. You can say the turning of the blades takes place. Nobody is turning it. Without anybody willing to perform any action, action takes place. Is it not so? Think about it. Not clear, raise your hand, But you see, two factors are involved. Electricity is involved and motor is involved. But none of them has the freedom to turn. None of them has the free will. If motor had the free will, it should be able to turn without electricity. If electricity has free will, it should be able to turn without motor. No. Does electricity turn the motor? Now that may be a little technical. That technical people can answer. Does electricity turn the motor? That much thing we must have learned in school. How does a motor turn? In those windings, when electrical flow, current takes place, and what happens? What is generated? Magnetism is generated, and that turns that thing. So even you cannot say electricity turns motor, motor turns in presence of electricity. Is it not so? So no kartrutva is involved here. No doership is involved. No free will is involved. And things take place. You will follow. Just because action takes place doesn't mean that there has to be an agent of action, there has to be kartrutva. We have taken for granted that because speaking takes place, who is speaking? I am the speaker. What is that? Who is speaking? Forget about motor. Who is speaking? Swami, you are speaking. What is you? Atma? There is an organ of speech which is like motor. Atma is like electricity. Atma is consciousness like electricity. The organ of speech is a machine like a motor. So just as in presence of electricity the motor turned, so also in presence of the self, of the consciousness, this organ of speech just turns, speaks. Meaning that for an action to be performed, there is no rule that you must have an agent of action. Isn't it? Action can take place in presence also.
Somebody has to switch on the light, or somebody has to switch on the fan. There is some free action there, some free will.
Is there a free will in electricity?
No, but if
But are you turning the fan? If you are turning the fan, you don't need electricity also. Or don't need motor also. If you are turning the fan, then you don't need electricity. You can't say you are turning the fan. You can't say electricity is turning the fan because then it won't need you also. It will turn. You can't say the motor is turning fan because it won't need electricity also. So who is turning fan? You are not turning the fan. Electricity is not turning the fan. Motor is not turning the fan. And still fan is rotating. Is that a mystery? Have you ever heard of this mystery? That things happen? Is it like ghost? Is it not so? Without anybody doing things, they are happening? Anyway, without confusing you further, the thing is that how the presence of light, how the music box turns, but you can't say the music box plays the music because without light it cannot. You cannot say light plays the music because without music box it cannot. You can't, some combination of the two. That's all right, combination of the two, right? But there's no kartrutva in either of them. There's no doership, that's the whole thing. You know, who is accountable for the result of the action? One who is a doer of the action. It is karta, the person who performs the action is the one who is accountable for the result. Arjuna says, I perform the act of killing. Who is that I? Who is that I? Consciousness. In presence of consciousness, this hands and legs and all this machinery, just becomes enlivened. In consciousness, there is no doership or no will that may I do this, because then it would not need this. Nor hands and legs themselves are doership, because without consciousness they cannot do that. Meaning that in presence of consciousness, first the intellect gets enlivened. From the intellect, the mind gets enlivened. From the mind, the sense organs get enlivened. And that's how the action takes place. Ultimately, all the enlivening is simply in presence of consciousness. Now, this is a big thing. So now we can come back to that fellow insulted me. Let's see who insulted me, Now, also, one was that the one who insulted and the fellow who is insulted, both are one. So that of course will resolve everything. In case, second is, who insulted? Self-insulted cannot perform the action. The organ of speech, that also cannot perform the action. So therefore, there is no such real action. And same thing also, there is no real killing, there is no real killed. There is no killer. Without a killer, the killing takes place. There is no killed also. There are also agent of the act of being killed is also not there. So Lord Krishna says, Nayamanti nahanyate. This one neither kills, nor is he killed. Yeyanam vetyantaram, even though self does not kill, and still I say I killed. What is it called? It's called ignorance. Even though the I does not kill, and still I say I killed. This is called ignorance. Even though the I does not get killed, and still I say I am killed. This is also called ignorance. Lord Krishna says, Ubhau tauna vijanita. Both of them do not know. They do not know themselves. Nayam hanti nahanyate. Atma neither kills nor is killed. Who kills? In presence of Atma, this upadhi kills. Who is killed? In presence of Atma, the upadhi is killed. But upadhi is mithya, is inert, is a costume. So therefore, this life is not much different from the life in a movie or a play, really. Of course, in court of law, they won't accept it, but between you and me, Just as in a movie there is no real killer and no real killed, so in life there is no real killer, no real killer. Thank you, Swamiji. Now I can go and spray and do everything, because I always felt guilty and going to garden and spraying. So now no guilt. Who has no guilt? I have no guilt. Which I? The Swami has no guilt. It means already ignorance is there. The moment I call myself Swami or X, Y, Z, that means there is an identification with the result of ignorance. Then of course you are accountable. So as I said, this argument will not work in court of law. It is for us to understand that Atma does not perform an action, is actionless, is no karta nor bhokta. So the one who is killed is called the object of the action of killing, is called bhokta, and one who kills is the subject of action, is called karta. And there is no kartrutvam, bhoktrutvam, doership or experienship in the Atma. All this doing takes place how? All experiencing takes place how? In presence of Atma. At what level? At the level of the body-mind, like the level of motor. So body-mind sense complex like the motor. Self is like that electricity. And therefore, this is how it is. That does not give us license to do anything, I'm saying, but this is understanding. Yes, if you had really had this knowledge, if this became your immediate knowledge, you already have the knowledge, abidance in knowledge. This is the problem only now that we have. Don't say you don't know. We know. But still the knowledge does not benefit us. Because ignorance still persists. What is ignorance? The habitual error of branding myself a doer. A habitual error of branding myself as an experiencer that persists, you follow? In spite of now knowing that I am neither doer nor an enjoyer, neither karta nor a bhokta, it's clear to you now, is it not so? Just intellectually it is clear. Is it clear or not? That you are the self, asti bhati priyam, there is consciousness, in presence of whom all speaking, talking, everything takes place in presence, that you are not the real agent for doing it. Is it not clear after this discussion? By the same token, somebody says something to me, but then again, I am not the bhokta also. Again, in my presence, all this hearing takes place. So speaking takes place in presence of self, hearing also takes place in presence of self. There is neither, Atma is neither speaker nor hearer. Is it clear? That's knowledge. I don't experience it. That is knowledge. Then what do we need? The problem is that ignorance persists in spite of this knowledge. This is called sap-pratibandhakam. This is just to give a great consolation. Because everybody thinks, I don't know, Swami, after listening to all this. No, don't say that. Don't say that I'm listening to this Swami 20 years, I'm listening to you, that then you don't understand. Then that's something wrong with me also, after 20. If you're listening to me for 20 years and 10 years and still I'm where I was, then there is some problem with this. It's not a great compliment. Now, sap-pratibandhakam jnana, knowledge with pratibandha or obstacle. What's your obstacle? That ignorance in the form of habit persists. Ignorance has two aspects. One is wrong understanding, other is wrong habit. For example, let us say that I am driving a car. These days your GPS, so you won't make any mistake, unless GPS also confuses you. That also can happen. In the olden days we had problems. 40 years ago? We just maps. And your friend says, you ask for direction. Those days, the map quest, internet also was not there in our time. So your friend will tell you, and Indians, the way they give direction is, and you see, anyway, so then take a right, and then they make a left, and then see the east, and go to north, so sometimes in right and left itself there is confusion. I think I made a right turn. In fact, people, this is right, and they make a turn like that. And the destiny is not coming, not coming. And I think I'm on the right path, so I'm merrily driving about 50 miles an hour, and then after 15 minutes I don't see any, there's no McDonald's. You say, look, you come across a church, I don't see anything. I called back my friend. There's no cell phones. You call back means what? You have to get down someplace and go out and then go to telephone booth, etc. Then it turned out that my understanding of East was wrong. Suppose today you call and say, hey, Ram, you are going in the wrong direction. Or you came to the church, or you came to the McDonald's, it's the wrong direction, Swamiji. You made a wrong turn. So I made a right turn instead of a left turn. So first understanding is wrong. And now my car is running in the wrong direction 50 miles an hour. So even with the right understanding, I am going to require some time to turn around that car because my wrong understanding is translated in the car in the wrong habit of going in the wrong direction. So that also takes its own time to turn, isn't it so? So we have two problems. One is that we have wrong understanding. That's one aspect of ignorance. Other is that wrong understanding results in a wrong habit. Wrong habit of thinking, wrong habit of conclusion, wrong habit of behavior. And therefore, that takes time. This understanding must be brought at every level of my not only behavior, but behavior is also preceded by my conclusions, my opinions, and every opinion is subjected to understanding. And then to the behavior. So that takes time. That 50 miles an hour takes time to slow down and then make a U-turn. And in New Jersey, you must wait for a jug handle or something like that. You can't make turns like that also, because everywhere there is crisscross, No. And so then you wait for some turn, and God knows you wind up. Sometimes those are so long. Sometimes you come out right away. Sometimes they take you 1 mile somewhere and then bring out, and you get lost further, New Jersey is an amazing place. But anyway, so this can happen. Meaning that this knowledge has to be translated at all levels of opinions, of conclusions, of behavior, That's called pratibandhaka. That is obstacle. So don't have the complex that I don't know Swamiji. When you say I am Brahman, that is knowledge. But that has become clearer and clearer. Our Swami used to give example of a Polaroid picture, You take a picture with Polaroid camera, and then pull out that frame, and then you start seeing some outline. So from that Swamiji is sitting. You took my picture, Swami is sitting on the chair, you know that. But then it takes 2 minutes for the whole thing to become clear. Oh, I now see the eyes, the glasses, the ears, and these lips, and the face, and all features are clear. So knowledge doesn't change. Swami is sitting in the chair. Swami is sitting in the chair. That doesn't change. What changes? The vagueness goes and clarity comes and comes and comes and comes. Meaning that this knowledge has to be applied at every level. The moment the mind comes to a conclusion, wait a minute. Is it conclusion based on what you just understood? So Lord Krishna says, this one does not kill, nor is he killed. Even this understanding. Because when we are in the heat of doing things, that time I guess this understanding disappears and our habit takes over, and therefore we are back to where we were. That is why this understanding can be applied when we are by ourselves and that we are not doing anything. There are no pressures. That is called nididhyasana. That time we can take a verse like that and think about it and apply to our present problems. That I feel I'm a failure, Swamiji. I feel that I'm nobody. I feel that I'm this, that. Okay, who is that I? Where is that failure? Where is that nobody? So, when we are quiet, when we have the leisure of creating a distance, when we become one with the things, then all our knowledge seems to disappear. Then our habit takes over. But when we are by ourselves, at that time, and also choose a time when you don't have the pressure. Swami, I have 15 minutes before I have to catch a bus. Then you don't even have 15 minutes because those 15 minutes will go in thinking about the bus. Most of the time we squeeze these things in between. So 5 mala japa also I have to do. I'm just waiting, when is that getting over so that I can go to the next one. Because that cooker is there and I'm waiting for the whistle to happen. In between I do my japa. How is it going to work? So when we have some time, when there is no pressure, I don't have to finish anything. Nothing is waiting for me. I don't have to attend to anything. I'm a sannyasi. Become a sannyasi. For what? Half an hour. That luxury you can have. Nobody will allow you a whole day, but you can take that, retreat for half an hour. I'm a sannyasi. I have nothing to accomplish, nothing to achieve, no responsibility, no roles to play. Then take up that problem. That 5 minutes ago I was crying. Why was I crying? Why was I sad? Who is sad? Who is karta? Who is bhukta? What is, at what level is happening? You can go through the mechanism and realize that it is in presence of I that things are happening. All this is at the level of costume. Everything at the level of the body, mind, sense complex costume. I become that situation becomes problem and I identify with the costume. Create a distance with the costume with all at the level of costume. So this is very useful knowledge. It's not theoretical. It's not academic. It's very practical. In fact, this understanding can be applied whenever mind is sad, then you apply this. Whenever there is a problem, when there is anxiety, when there is sadness, etc., apply this. Yes, Swamiji, then it's okay for 15 minutes. Then again, when I start, doesn't matter. 15 minutes, you have some, relief. So, Nayam hanti nahanyate, Lord Krishna says, Atma is actionless. It neither does anything, nor becomes an object of anybody's action. It's ever free. I'm ever free. Why is it so? The next verse reason. Why? How come Atma doesn't do anything? How come it's not affected by anything? Because it is changeless. How is it changeless? That's what Lord Krishna explains in the next verse. We'll see it next time. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.